Lesson 13.5 is about the cosine function. In this lesson, we will learn how to do all the things we did with the sine function, only with the cosine function. So basically, you're going to learn how to graph. And then we will use the graph to solve some equations. The properties of the cosine function are the same as they were for the sine function. So if your equation is y equals a cosine b theta, a is the amplitude, b is the number of cycles in the interval from 0 to 2 pi, and the period of the function can be found by taking 2 pi and dividing it by b. So here's an example. We want to sketch one cycle of this cosine function. So first thing we notice is that the amplitude is 1.5. We know the b value is 2. So the period to the function would be 2 pi divided by 2, which is pi. So if we're going to graph this function, we start with a coordinate plane. The difference between the cosine function and the sine function is that the cosine function starts at the maximum value. So this is 1 and this is 2. The cosine function, instead of starting at the origin, will start at the amplitude of 1.5. And then we're going to go across for our 5 important values. When we get to the fifth one, we will be at pi. So if we take pi and divide it by 4, that will give us each of these values. So pi fourths, pi halves, 3 pi fourths. And from the maximum value at the amplitude, it will come down to equilibrium. Then it will go down to the minimum value, back to equilibrium, and back to the maximum value. When you draw your curve, you need to realize that this top point is a maximum value, so don't go up above it. You need to start from below and go through your 5 points and make sure it ends going downward. So there's one cycle of the function. Okay, in our second example here, the amplitude is 2. The b value is the 3 here, but 3 is in the denominator, so b is actually 1/3. So the period to this function is 2 pi divided by 1/3, which means 2 pi times the reciprocal, 3/1. So the period is 6 pi. So for graphing this function, the amplitude is 2. And our 5 number summary will get us out to, or our 5 important points include going all the way out to 6 pi here at the end. So if we take 6 pi and divide it by 4, we get 3 pi halves. So that's our first value. 3 pi halves plus 3 pi halves is going to give us 6 pi halves, which is 3 pi. Add another 3 pi halves to that, and we will have 4 pi halves. Okay, so our graph is going to start at a maximum of 2. We'll go to equilibrium, minimum value, equilibrium, maximum value, and then you draw the curve, like so.